Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm Mr. Bennett with my partners, as always, the brother Shawnee out of the Texas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth area of the country, and then my man Coach from the Kentucky, Coach Ferg in the building tonight. Shout out to our brother Dante. Hope you get well. You and the fam get well real soon. But good to be with you guys here on the One-on-One Sports Show. And I certainly not only am I glad to be here, but I also have the privilege and the responsibility. I'm kind of running things tonight. So I just want to see just kind of how some of this stuff works. I'm still kind of getting used to the buttons and the dials and the controls and everything that I got here. But I just want to make sure that I can get this thing working properly. But while I do this, I just want to test one thing out just to make sure I can just do this here. Let's see.
Oh, hell no.
I think I'll be fine. Good evening, guys. Shawnee, what's going on, my brother? How are you?
Man, everything is going good, man. You know, ready to itching to get the show started, and you know, yeah, everything is going good.
Sounds good.
Good wishes and well wishes to Dante.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The coach, how are you doing, sir?
I'm okay, man. You know, it's Wednesday, man. I'm excited. The weather's starting to change. You know,
that's right. That's right. 56 in New Jersey today, so you know I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, man. Let's get into this. So again, I like to kind of prepare some things ahead of time. So let's just get some stuff up here that we can kind of talk about a little bit as we get into this here. So I want to just start out with the NFL because you know I can't get enough of the NFL. So it was just came out. It was discovered that again, everyone's been arguing about the tush push, and initially there was certainly there was a team that anonymously made a proposal to the league to try to ban the tush push, and we just found out that it was in fact the Green Bay Packers who made that. Obviously, they lost certainly in the playoffs, certainly to the Eagles. And so they're looking forward to get banned. So, again, Packers President Mark Murphy said let it be known very much he's against the play, complaining that it is almost automatic first down on plays less than a yard, and citing the Washington Commanders' comical repeated attempts to stop the play in the NFC Championship game. So what do you guys think about this here? Do the Packers have a beef, or is it just like, look, until you learn how to beat it, or even more so, replicate it? You know, if you can't, you know, they say this is a copycat league. So unless you can beat them, join them. So what do you guys say about, the Packers request to the league that something be done about this play? Good, bad? What do you guys think about that?
Well, one, I think it was weak for the Packers to, you know, complain and whine about this play. Only thing I'll say about it though is I believe in the past it was illegal to push running backs or even during QB sneaks, you know, in the backfield when they do that. If the NFL were to modify it, you know, that's one of the main things. So you got to have the personnel because everybody can't do the tush push. I heard that the Eagles and the Bills together were successful with their attempts by over 80%, you know, because they have two of the stronger quarterbacks. One is, you know, because squats 600 pounds, and the other one, he's just big, and Josh Allen. So everybody don't have the personnel to do it. It is a skill because the linemen, they get lower than your defensive linemen. I mean, they're not doing nothing illegal. They're just getting low. And But if the NFL office were to modify it in some way and say, hey, you can't push from behind, then I can understand that.
Mhm.
Cause that's you see the Eagles, man. They Barkley, even last year when it was I forgot they running backs they had in the backfield, but they get everybody to come back there and push Hurts, and he's like, okay, you can't do that per se, but for the Packers whining about it's an automatic first down, especially in the trenches, I'm like, y'all better get down there and get lower than the offensive line. I mean, that's it. I remember, when the Commanders was trying to do it in the playoffs, and they kept jumping over and offside, the rest was like, man, y'all keep
Yeah,
doing
you guys,
it.
you do it one more time.
Grant
I want him to touchdown.
Yeah, so we're
Right.
going to grant it. So, I mean, I just think it was just weak for the Packers just to go up there, hey, whining and complaining, just because they feel like it's an automatic first down because their defensive line is not good enough to stop it. Like I said, if the NFL wants to modify it, they leave it alone, I'm fine. But if they want to modify anything, because it used to be a rule that you can't push, QB for a QB sneak or whatnot. It's just strictly QB and offensive lineman. If they want to modify that, then I can understand that. But other than that, you just got to beat it. And other than that's the one of the main reason why Hurts focus a lot of strength on his legs. I mean, it's like complaining that Derrick Henry is strong and you really can't tackle him from up high. So what you gonna, it's just it's kind of like you making, because a team has the personnel and the skill set to do this play, you want to get rid of it because you can't stop it, and that's what it come off as.
Yeah. Shout out to CJ in the chat tonight. He references back in 1981, the Portland Trail Blazers tried to put out a proposal to ban the skyhook because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was so good with it that that they made a proposal then. But yeah, I mean it's like. It's like, you want a certain level of competitive advantage. But again, when it comes down to staffing or whatnot, it's a different ball game. Coach, what do you think about that? That somewhat proposal, certainly by the Packers to get that play outlawed, or how do you feel about the play in general? I mean, have you always been a fan of it, or have you seen it used to this? I don't think I've ever seen the play used to this effect ever in all my years of watching football. But what do you think about the play overall? And did the Packers have a point?
So I'm gonna talk to the non-football players first. It's a little difference, right? Shawnee alluded to it. This was a part of this always been a part of the original rules of the game. The Eagles just modified and started using players to push the quarterback and the play over. They used to jump over the pound. Now players ain't built like that, so they need a little push. Now I can see a modified to where only one person can push the quarterback, but it also comes down to understanding how to run that play. Eagles practice to play. I'm sure the Bills practice to play. It ain't just something that you can get up there and do when down there everybody on the line can bench press 500-600 pounds. So it's a difficult play to run, but it seems so simple. So it's always been a part of it. We used to do it on the sand lot. You're playing goal line defense. You do it in every level of football. So, it just goes to show the weakness of the Packers. It goes to show some of them little pompous ass boys, they ain't really football players. They just, own a team. And they went to crying because they couldn't defeat a team. And then they did it anonymously, so they was trying to be little weasels. So right now, I would just leave it alone, but again, and the thing about that rule is that it's not affecting health in a sense, unless you get pinned at the bottom. There haven't been any injuries reported of it.
Right.
So I think it's just sourpuss players, not owners and managers, but I say practice it. If you're a coach, make it a part of your tool. And if I was going to change the rule, just maybe one person can push from behind, not 3 or 4. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. I agree. That definitely didn't seem like a everyone else has to deal with it and whatnot. Now, again, if they get a consensus because they raised it, really it's going to depend on how many teams get together. Because if you can certainly get a consensus going, then it may come down to that. Because and a lot of these rules get voted on by ownership anyway. So I would at least have to think that at least all the teams in the NFC East would certainly be on board. Against this play, and so again, I don't know how the rules are. I don't know if it has to be unanimous or does it have to be a simple majority or whatnot, or a threshold that they need to get to.
That rule will have to be unanimous, just because some teams can do it and benefit from it. That's all. They're going to vote on it. I think that the winter meetings or the owners meetings coming up sometime.
Yeah.
So they'll probably vote on it, but it just goes to show again. It's just like some players, man, trying to just whining and shit.
Well, the GMs are all at this
combine.
Yes, they do a lot of talking. It's like the winter meetings in baseball.
Yeah,
and a lot of them GMs, once they get there, a lot of deals are, especially in baseball, a lot of deals are happening during them winter meetings.
Yeah,
now you can really talk.
Trades.
So that's all NFL doing. They talking and trying to get. I think I saw a notification earlier about the NFL looking at one particular rule. Well, Mr. Bennett brought up the rule about the first downs, but they also brought something up about modifying the overtime rules.
Right.
They start talking. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of that, excellent segue. So we have the NFL looking to bench the chain gang for the 2025 season. So they got this system that I think has been used, if I'm not mistaken, in the USFL or the UFL, that I think has been experimented with there. This Hawkeye system. So again, is used as the primary method for measuring line gains. And so again, they will still work the NFL sidelines and be used as a backup to this measurement technology. Now I'm thinking, I don't know quite how that system works. Is there something also that's I would think you would have to have some sort of electronics in the ball itself if you really want it to be, to be useful. So I'd have to see more about how the system works. But it's just like, I think they're using, similar technology in baseball, when it comes to balls and strikes. They're trying to get a lot of that out of the game as well. I think anything that is good for the game that, again, you just want to get the call right. You want to get the play right. And even this year, I remember there were a lot of very controversial where games literally were decided by the spot of the ball. We all know about the Kansas City Chiefs with the, certainly with their, people complaining that the refs were giving them the calls and whatnot, or not giving the other team the calls or whatnot. So I think anything that kind of takes some of the questionable calls out of the game, I always, think that's a good thing. I'm always a tech head. But what do you guys think about the NFL making this measure? They say football is, in fact, a game of inches. And like I said, I've literally seen games decided by that inch this year. But you think this is good for the NFL or not? Coach, we'll start with you. What do you think about that?
Okay. Before I answer the question, I want to just come back to the point about the combine and the Eagles and everybody in Indianapolis. How would y'all feel if y'all was a GM walking into that situation, or the team was already doing that? So, but yeah, in this rule, I don't think removing the chain gang will affect it, because the ball is placed by the official. Now, of course, the chain gang, it's like an imaginary line that'll be across. They do it on TV now. Mm-hmm. They show the electric, line, the virtual line. So it'll be interesting to see how they can actually measure it, because you're still going to have some form of marker for your 10-yard distance. So if it's on the field, it'd be hard because it's forever moving. But for TV purposes, they already do it. So I'm interested to see. I haven't watched the rule in the USFL. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's like
so I haven't seen it.
The UFL now as it's
okay. So I guess
they've been using it since 2022. And
so it'd probably be a some type of electric. I don't know, man, but I can't. It'll be interesting to see. But Yeah, the officials, the ones that mark the ball, man. Hell, they the
Right.
ones.
But I'm
that
saying if you
control
can somehow put some technology in the ball itself, like the point of the either point of the football, to where when the ball is down and you can
that'll
kind of
change the weight of the ball. The weight of the ball will change.
I mean, I'm saying that you go into if you can make it as small where it doesn't impact as possible. But I'm just saying you would have to do something. You would have to do something similar to that. But Shawnee, what do you think? Do you think this is a positive step forward, or just more complications? What do you think about this move that they're doing?
Well, first, appreciate you, CJ, for the super chat.
Absolutely appreciate. So we're gonna deal with this question after Shawnee answers. So again, which NFC team is more frightening? Move the Cowboys fans, Myles Garrett, Matthew Stafford. Now I thought T. Higgins. I understand. I thought Cincinnati franchised him. So I'm not sure if that is. I don't know if that move is in play anymore. But we can certainly chop that up. You guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. But but go ahead, Shawnee, on the using tech to help get these calls right.
I'm kind of in the same wavelength as Coach, because I don't think it was never really an issue as far as the chain game. They just marked it 10 yards. It's really basically, and it's interesting. You said they pretty much getting this idea from the UFL.
Yeah,
that's why the NFL never really tripped about. At the time when there was XFL and the USFL before they merged, they're like, we're not really tripping about having a spring football, and they kind of using it to their advantage.
Even the kickoff rules, right?
Yeah, exactly.
From this past year, they got that from there.
First down technology stuff, they just use it to their advantage. Like I said, they always be talking, behind the scenes, but now they're actually seeing it implemented in place, so they can see how it's working in real time. So that's why they never really had like they nose up at these spring football leagues. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, because I'm trying to picture how this technology is going to be used, because as far as a chain game, it's not. I mean, they just mark the 10 yards and that's it. They never was the issue. Right. And at the time, when it was what's going on, Tommy? When it was they marked their 10 yards, and then when you think it's about to be close to a first down, the chain game will come, and the 10-yard chain will show how far you are. So that, to me, was never the issue. That was pretty much clear as far as the distance you are, and the ball was spotted from the first down marker. Right. Now it comes to play where. I guess it's really, and I believe Coach mentioned this, is really where the refs mark the ball, and that's where, now I guess you could. It's not. I was about to say it's probably similar technology to what you see with the tennis, how they mark the ball, but I guess that's really more.
That's the same thing.
Towards the end zone.
Yeah. Well, let me be a little bit more cynical here. Is this a labor issue? Because you're talking 16 games a week, right? 32 teams, 16 games, and that's 16 paychecks. If you can put this technology in, and if you wouldn't need these guys, if it's really effective, that's 16 paychecks you don't have to pay. So, could it be just a labor issue more so than getting the call right, especially if you're saying if the spotting of the ball is still going to be in the hands of the referee? Certainly, is this really adding value? Unless, like I said, it could be a labor issue. But before I go on again, shout out Tommy B. Thank you for joining us tonight, certainly on the show, and certainly was good chopping up with you last night. But let's get your thoughts on this new rule. You love it, like it, indifferent? What do you think about it?
Well, Raiders fan, man, I love it. We are the fans that had the index card, if you remember. But no, they already tried it last preseason. I don't know if y'all brought that up. But from what I understand, the chain game's not going nowhere, just in case the technology fails. So they'll still be out there, from what I understand. But from what I understand, it's the exact same technology from tennis. Like, it's literally the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so basically, I mean, with I'm guessing it's going to do the same thing, with tennis, wherever the ball hits on the ground, it knows the exact spot type of deal.
Right.
Which, I mean, the way these refs are, you kind of need it, because I don't know if it's different when you're actually at the game, but when you're watching the Bills this is past season against the Chiefs, and you clearly see him past, the line of game, and somehow the ball gets trotted back.
Mhm.
Or a lot of times, these spots are based on which ref you throw it to.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of times when you see the spot, two refs got two different spots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, as a Raiders fan, we're the ones that had the index card where he came out there, and before or since then, it's never been done. But this
Right.
idiot comes out with an index card to decide that it's not a first down, and essentially cost us the game.
Right.
So for me, I think anything that can improve that can take out human error, I think is a good thing, because especially with, and this is a big one, I don't know if y'all brought up, with this gambling thing going on. Man, it's so easy for one of these refs to get, manipulated.
Right.
And the way that these calls are looked at, you can make one of those calls, and even through the years, we've never even considered that when these calls go. It's just human error. Like I said, as a Raiders fan, when you look at that index card, if it was gambling going on back then, we definitely would have been pointing out, like, what do again, it's never been done before. You just decide on the whim to just use this index card to see if it fit between the chain, and so
Right.
I think that's a big part of it too, is with this gambling thing. I think all of these leagues are going to have to consider that.
Yeah.
We already starting to kind of see, at least the NFL, I mean NBA wise, players being manipulated. So
Right.
You kind of want to get ahead of the problem before it even exists.
I got you. Awesome. Let's go back to CJ. So he asked a question again. Thanks again for the.
Well, hold on,
oh, sorry, go
real
ahead.
quick, Mr. Ben, because just to stay on this
Okay. Go ahead.
bundle of potential rule changes, whatnot. So another one that the NFL was considering was making changes to the regular season overtime rules. So their biggest thing is they trying to modify it in a way to decrease the advantage of the team that gets the coin, who wins the coin toss. I know they did that in the playoffs, where remember it used to be sudden death just the whole time. But that one game, the Chiefs and the Bills, when Josh Allen played a hell of a game, but he literally lost because he just didn't touch the ball.
Right.
They modified that during the regular season. Regular season, basically, both teams have a chance to get the ball, but if the first team score with a touchdown, it's over.
It's over. Correct. Yeah.
If you get a field goal. Now, playoffs is not sudden death, but it's slightly different, right? I don't know why I'm going far.
I believe in the playoffs, if they get a touchdown, the other team gets the ball back, and if they don't get a touchdown,
okay,
Then
then
it's-
it's over.
yeah,
But if they get a touchdown, then they just play the whole rest of the quarter out. I believe is how it goes.
Yeah, it's not sudden death, but I know it had a tweak different than regular season. But yeah, they trying to, but basically still, there's a huge advantage by the team. You saw it in the Super Bowl 2 years ago with the 49ers and the Chiefs, and for whatever reason, with the 49ers chose their decision. I forgot exactly what they chose. It was obviously the wrong one, but basically the team, so that's one of the rules that they're trying to modify and whatnot. So, like I've been saying the whole time, this whole segment, them owners and GMs, they over there talking at this combine, so they getting their brains burning on all type of potential rule changes and what needs to be addressed. I don't mind them looking at stuff, but you don't want to. Everything just don't need to be touched per se.
Yeah, this team.
If you change too much, then now you changing the basis of the game.
Yeah. Just take the overtime back to the old school way, man. Both teams get an opportunity to have the ball. Just do that. That makes it simple. Football is football, man.
Absolutely.
Pretty soon you're going to have the two-hand touch up below the waist.
Or just have them just play the quarter out, and then you ain't got to worry about none of this. Just play the quarter out.
If it's just a tie, it's a tie. Well, again, you can't do that in playoffs, but
you got to keep on going.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the simplest way to do it. Just play the quarter out. It's just an extra quarter, like it naturally is. You know, I think I don't know why they ended up making the rules the way they were. But if you just make an extra quarter, you don't end up with these situations like you said with the Josh Allen doesn't.
So when you say, so when you say extra quarter, you mean even if you score, as long as there's time still in the quarter, you still have time to.
Now, I don't think it should necessarily be like the whole 15, but say if you cut that in half and say a 7,
that would
like
I can see that too.
But
no, because I'm gonna take 7 minutes to score, man. What are we talking about?
But and it's your defense's job.
No. Both teams get the ball. Go back to the old school way. If you score a touchdown, that's game. If you kick a field goal, the other team get a chance. And keep it simple, man. You can't.
Extra quarter is as simple as they get. I mean,
the football players wear and tear too.
Because it's a high risk of injury. You already played 4 quarters already.
Well,
so I guess,
they're adding games, so they clearly don't care about that. And
they ain't gonna
wear and tear is part of the game. I mean, if
I understand that, I don't see them just prolonging the game like that, though. I think they're going to just make it a sudden down.
If both teams get the ball, like say they do in the playoffs right now, if both teams end up getting the ball, you're going to end up playing the whole thing anyway. So if I score a touchdown, they score a touchdown, and then I just milk the rest of the time when I get the ball back, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, a 7-minute drive.
And the team may want to actually come out with the tie. So again, you just hold on to the ball, run out the clock.
And if you think about it,
nobody wants to come out with a tie.
But the way that football is played,
depends, especially at the end of the year with these rules.
They throw so much that it's not like back in the day when you can just hand the ball off to your running back and just literally milk the clock. They throw so much a 7-minute drive is almost unheard of these days because you score so quick or the clock is constantly stopping because of incompletion. So
right.
I mean.
Yeah, I think because they they invest so much money in these players, owners, they don't want that over that sudden death anymore. They just invest so much money, so you give them this quarterback, like you're gonna have a lot of Josh Allen situations. Your team is losing games because the dude you paying all this money to not even step in the field. So they,
although it seems like the league is kind of sympathetic, they're trying to get Josh a win regardless. This is almost like Josh Allen. He got screwed again this last playoff game. It's like they're trying to give it. They gave him the MVP, even though he was second team All Pro. He still got the MVP. I don't get that.
I told boys how that go, man, because it happened last year.
It's like they're just trying to make the game easier for Josh Allen. It seems like, but let's tackle CJ's question though. I think this is a pretty easy answer for me. First of all, I don't want Matt Stafford anywhere. He's a dome player. I think Minnesota is probably going to be the best bet for him if they don't sign the guy they had this past year. I don't trust him. He's 1-8 in cold weather games, in wintry games. 1-8. I don't want to see him in an outdoor field. So no to the Giants. Myles Garrett anywhere is certainly a frightening thing. So certainly him going to the Eagles, that would just be piling on. More, and like I said, I'm pretty sure T. Higgins. I think they franchise tagged him, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But any thoughts on that, gentlemen, before I move on?
The only answer is Myles Garrett. The Eagles' defensive line is already ungodly, so to add Myles Garrett to that, it wouldn't even be fair.
It's overkill.
They don't even have to blitz with that defensive line they got now. So if you add Myles Garrett to it, that would be ridiculous. And the way it's looking, I'm not gonna lie to you. Matt Stafford's either staying in L.A. He's coming to Vegas. He didn't already sat down and had dinner with Tom Brady. So
okay, well, I was gonna ask you and Shawnee a question about your respective teams before we move on. So again, the prospect of Stafford coming to Vegas, you're more enthused about that. I heard talk possibly Russell Wilson possibly
Russell
reading
Wilson
out in
already been
Pete
turned
Carroll.
down.
So okay, so
Yeah, they already from what the Russell Wilson rumor came out quick and that guy did it real quick. Stafford, I think, will be smooth. My only thing is if they bring somebody in, still get a young quarterback because
right.
any veteran they get in is probably going to be 1-2 years tops. So if we get a Stafford, it would be cool to get a Cam Ward or Shador to sit behind them for a year or two to soak up game and then slide him in there when Stafford is done. But to get him, and then Aaron Rodgers not even in the conversation for us. When I said he trying to throw his hat in with the Rams if Stafford leaves. So yeah, if they're seriously considering him, I'm good with it as long as they have a plan to get a young one to get behind them as well.
Gotcha.
Talking about
Gotcha.
taking the Atlanta route.
Yeah. And for Shawnee, this is for you. So I understand that your guy, Zach Martin, in fact, CJ, we are on the same page. I was going to ask you about him tonight. So again, Zach Martin retiring from the Cowboys. So your thoughts on him? I mean, it seems like he's put a Hall of Fame career together. And so any thoughts on Zach Martin, before we move on? And coach, anybody else could chime in also. Not that you guys care about the Cowboys, but I'm just saying. I just want to make that make that offer. But any thoughts on? Certainly, I would say I don't know first ballot. I don't know that. I don't know how many Pro Bowls I have to look it up. But I think he's certainly going to Canton.
I think whatever metric they use to grade offensive linemen for Hall of Fame, I think he'll be a first ballot. Pretty much majority of his career, he was thought as the best guard in the NFL. He made an immediate impact when he was drafted in 2014. That was the year that Romo, that's when they had Romo, Dez, and Megatron was literally going back and forth about who was the best receiver in the league. Dez was unstoppable. Him and that behind the shoulder touchdown, him and Romo. Yeah. And then they had, what's his name? The running back. I'm just forgetting all the players.
Oh, the guy got all those carries? Yeah.
So
they ran him into the ground.
Yeah, they did. They did. But they was killing teams that year. And that was the year that Dez Bryant, the catch or no catch versus Green Bay in the playoffs. Because I believe that Cowboys team actually had a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's just that play stopped them. But yeah, he had an immediate impact as soon as he came. Because I remember Romo was always wanting them to invest in the offensive line. But if you remember when Romo was playing, he was doing a lot of running around.
He was getting killed.
Exactly. And when they gave Romo that money, they was like, okay, he's like, okay, I got the money now. Now let's draft the old line. As soon as they gave him that money, that's when they 2014, Jerry wanted he was looking at Manziel, Stephen Jones was looking at Martin. They went with Martin, obviously, immediate impact. So 2015, that was a wash because Romo got hurt in I think the preseason or whatnot. That's when Zeke
Murray, and your current guy. That's when they kind of got on stage.
Yeah,
and Romo never got his job back. So
no, that was 2016.
Oh, the 16.
2015, he got injured. DeMarco Murray went on to the Titans, and they had a running back by committee.
Right,
and I forgot the QB that was playing. It was a wash. 2016, Romo got hurt again in the preseason. That's what brought, and then Kellen Moore got injured. He broke his arm, and that's what put Dak Prescott. And then they went on, him and Zeke. So pretty much Martin's career, it was just impactful the whole time. It was just other pieces on the team. That's why I said that when he retired, I said the Cowboys done wasted another player's career. Because you had a window as far as offensive line. You had Tyron Smith. Definitely when you had Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and Travis Frederick. That was your key, but then it just one by one, they started just being removed. Frederick retiring, Smith free agency because he just wasn't the same.
Right.
And Zach Martin. But yeah, I think he should be, like I said, I don't know what metrics they use with that, but I think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he definitely was looking like one. Now going back to this question that CJ was asking about between the players, I believe y'all pretty much process about elimination. Higgins, even if Higgins had a chance to go to Commanders, Cowboys do have a decent secondary when they're healthy. So I don't think that one will be as impactful as, of course, Myles Garrett, former Defensive Player of the Year, go to a team that already has a dominant defensive line. Even though them and the Cowboys tend to play each other very well because it's a division rival, but you giving that team, that defensive lineman, that type of a weapon, nah, you asking for hell. So, but yeah, it was definitely, I believe, a first ballot Hall of Fame career for Zach Martin. I just hate the fact that they just wasted another just excellent career of a player.
Yeah. Well, he was paired certainly. For years, you could certainly, I would say from 2014 through maybe 17, 18, they had the best O-line in the NFL. So, and obviously Zeke and Zach, they both profited from that.
Yeah,
like you said,
Zeke
he
came out in 2016 on a bang, and then his off-the-field issues immediately impacted 2017.
Right.
And then he came back strong in 2018 and 19 before he signed that early contract extension. And then after that, it kind of just dwindled down.
Hey, Shawnee, never forget Joe Thomas spent his whole career in Cleveland. So you talk about a waste.
Yeah,
and he could have left, but he just did not want to leave.
There you go. First of all, I want to welcome Brother Hink to the show. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. Gonna move again. Keeping on this. Hey, good to see you tonight, brother. Keeping on this energy. So obviously, as you know, I'm a fan. I'm a sucker for the combine, and I know this week, Thursday, the NFL Combine starts, and so these are guys who are opting out. So we already know Shedeur Sanders and Ashton Gentry are certainly opting out. Not sure about the Miami QB. Not sure if he, to what degree he may be participating in this. I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm not. Put it this way, I'm not expecting him to do so. But what do you guys think just overall? And I kind of know what the answer is going to be, but I just want to raise the question. When players sit out of the combine, now I know obviously that they go there. I think Shedeur, he's going to be there to speak with teams, and I think they take their physicals and whatnot there. But as far as the events itself, do you think it is a worthy metric by which to judge the performance of players, or is it just, as they say, just guys going around in Under Armour and just doing drills that'll have no impact on the game? That if you really want to see how these guys play, just watch the tape. So, what do you guys think of these guys holding out? Me personally, I'm not a fan necessarily of the pro days because I'm almost like that's like a staged event. I like the unknown element of having to work with guys you may not want to work with. I think it's a greater display of your ability. But when you're working with guys you work with all the time, everything's sort of planned out for you. Sometimes I think it can make you look better than what you are. But a lot of guys are opting for pro days versus the combine. I've always been a pro combine guy. But what do you guys think about that? Let's start with Shawnee, and we just kind of go around with that.
Well, actually, I was about to go the pro day route because I know Sanders, he most likely would do a pro day. But that last point you just brought up, their pro day is just scripted. So it just basically kind of makes you look. It highlights all your pro assets, show off your best stuff. Combine, my original mindset was like, just watch the film. Many times, a lot of these teams, they overthink so much that they put all this stock on just combine numbers. And then when you turn around and you look at their film, you're like, you see this dude is a baller. But maybe he's not running the 40 as fast as you want. Maybe he's not benching as much as you want. All that, they would use that to basically screw themselves over the pick or put their stock so much, on the pick. Because hell, as a Cowboys fan, I'm looking at them drafting Taco Charlton over T.J. Watt. And I'm like, what the, obviously,
Thank you very much.
Back-to-back picks or something like. I'm like, how This combine stuff, you just put too much weight. When you just look at the film will tell you everything. Obviously the dude's just not super weak, or obviously he wouldn't be an impactful player as he was in school. Now, I can understand maybe sometimes the competition they played against can come into factor, but they have their film set, so I could understand when a player, sit out. But that last point that you brought up is it, because a lot of times they sit out combine and have their own pro day.
Right.
That pro day is just so scripted to highlight them. It's like somebody putting your own highlight tape on YouTube or whatnot. They only highlight the good. Well, combine you may get some unexpected stuff, but yeah, teams I think just put too much on that, because if you look at the film will be more than the combine numbers.
Gotcha. Tommy, what do you think about it? Pro day or combine? What's your take?
I don't necessarily have a preference. I just think the pro day, to be honest with you, is more it's more like real life than the combine, because the combine you're literally with random people. When you get to a team, you're not going to be random people. You're practicing with these guys week in and week out. These are the guys you're going to have. You have a set of plays. These are what you're going to run. Whereas when you go to a combine, it's just random. It's what they come up with or whatever. But I heard a story, I forget what show I was watching on YouTube, about Tiki Barber, and they said that had they paid attention to his hand size, they probably would have drafted him a little bit later. And as we all know, he had a serious fumbling problem until they figured out or they invented a new way for him to hold the ball when he tucked it in his bicep. And that kind of saved his career. But I get why the players do it, so I'm not mad at the players for doing it. For us, the more football, whether it's combine or real football, the better for us. So yeah, I'd enjoy seeing these dudes run their 40s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as an investment and for financial decisions, I get why not. Like Shawnee said, look at the tape. That's my take there. Now, if you come in, I think it's more important for kids that's coming from like your BYUs or these smaller schools where you're playing people that's typically not even you might have one or two NFL players at best on the other side. Then that's more kind of important. But if you're playing in some of these conferences where you're playing multiple NFL prospects, again, it's not a mirror of the NFL, but I think it's enough on tape to show, okay, whether he's competent or not. Either way, it's really hard to predict what the what the outcome is going to be. For the simple, Jamarcus Russell didn't have a terrible combine, and so it's so much stuff that goes into it. It's not a tell-all, but I probably lean more towards the pro day, just only because you're in a comfortable environment, which when you're on an NFL team during the season, that's going to be you. You're going to be in a comfortable environment with people you're comfortable with. You're not going to just show up one week and I'm throwing to this receiver now and I'm handing the ball to this running back now. Like, you're going to have a set of players there. So.
Right. Hank, what's your thought on that? Combine versus pro day? Do you have a preference? Shout out to our guy Dante again. Certainly get ready soon, but again, he's certainly active in the chat tonight, and certainly I tend to agree. As far as getting those accurate metrics on players, or just confirm what's on film, not necessarily but there have been guys who have been combine freaks, if you will, that is certainly they've been able to up their draft stock through that. But Hank, what's your view on the combine? You for it or you prefer the pro day?
Well, the thing about the combine, most of the players who are invited, they normally go. It's very rarely where they don't go. Now, they're not going to participate in the activities of bench presses, 40s, and all that. They're going to do the interviews. They're going to do the measurements. So all that's taken care of. They're going to do that. Mingle with the few coaches that are there. The only thing about the combine, the coaches don't come no more like they used to. They send in the strength coach. They not even sending position coaches anymore. They sit in the scouts from whatever team that they represent. They not sending the actual head coach. Now there's a few head coaches that do go,
Yeah.
But for the most part, they not there. But guess where they are? They at them pro days. You know, and they at them pro days where they got about 4 or 5 type of. You gonna go Ohio State? They're gonna have about 4 or 5 guys. They could possibly go to get in the first round. They're gonna be at the Ohio State pro days. They're gonna be at the Penn State pro days. They're gonna be at the Colorado pro days. So, you know, the pro days are supposed to be set up for you to put your best foot forward. So, you know, like I said, it's an audition to perform in front of the guys who's going to really be the decision makers. You know, the either position coaches, the assistant coach, or the head coach. They're going to be there. So why not? I prefer the pro day for them guys. Now, I think like Tommy said, for them guys who are at the smaller schools or schools who doesn't get a lot of pub or a lot of ink or whatever the case may be, yeah, they need to be at the at the combine and doing the best they can. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys and got a lot of opportunities of moving up from 4th round pick all the way up to 2nd and 3rd and maybe even 1st round picks because they perform well at the pro day. Like you said, I think Brother Benny, you said, you know, the all combine all combine team where guys look good in the combine, they get in the league and like, damn, what happened? You know what I'm saying? So I prefer the pro day for them guys, man, who are going to, you know, really sell themselves the best. So I'm gonna go that route.
Gotcha. Coach, what's your thoughts on the pro day or combine?
I think it's good for both. You know what I'm saying? To have the pro day and the combine because I think the combine to measure how in shape you are, how you know what your true measurements are. You know, we all 3 inches taller than what we are until they put their measuring tapes on it. It gets to show how good of a shape you are in. You know, your ability to do certain moves. I can understand the combines because I think it's been mentioned, you know, it may be 3 or 4 players on my team who are NFL ready. And now if I'm throwing them different passes, you know what I'm saying, it's comfortable receivers, I'm comfortable with my field, you know, I know the good spots, that you know, the good angles. So, you know, I think both are needed. Combine, you know, you standing around watching somebody else for an hour. You know, you ain't just really concentrating on getting warmed up or whatever. But yeah, salute to everybody that making, man. Shit, I hope all of them making, man. But it's only so many slots, man. Do your best. Be in shape. If you got baby hands, don't be talking about you're a quarterback. You know. And Tommy, that wasn't in the rule. I mean, with just because you mentioned Barber. That's always been the old rule of the running back to hold it high and tight. That's always part of it. You know, he just figured it out.
Well, yeah, the coaches actually got with him because no, you're right, it's high and tight, but it's usually like this. He actually had to hold his like this. Like it was a specific way that he held his. And if you notice, I haven't seen him run back before or after have to hold it like that. Like I remember they used to even talk about when they implemented it, they talked about it on one of the pregame shows. Like he takes the ball, stuffs the tip of it into his bicep, and then has put the top of his hand on top of it. But that was specific to his hand size because, like I said, remember he had a serious fumbling problem when he first came in. And
yeah.
He
had a monster career. I mean, when he did fix that, he could have another year. I would say another year. You might have been talking Canton. I mean, he put there some crazy years once he got that problem fixed. That's
and the
why
crazy part, another year of that fumbling, he might have been damn near out the league because he had I remember it. It was almost what he was known for was the fumbling. Like he would break a great run and then they just pop it up out of there. Like it was
absolutely. And you figure he retired early because I think the Giants didn't they win the Super Bowl the next year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So it's like on all those levels.
I wanted to reply to the CJ. He put those things up there and he said it's not a guarantee. I think us as fans tend to forget none of these things can be a guarantee because we forget about the part called life that these players have to go through. So it's not even just the on-field things that can affect these players' careers. It could be off-the-field stuff that you're going through with family, et cetera, that can be a cause for you to not have a good career. So you could even still have that ability that you showed at the combine and everything. But, you know, I remember Rolando McClain with the Raiders. I actually ended up running into somebody who knew his family. And his family was a mess. And his grandfather died, and on his way to the funeral, I forget the check that they spent on the funeral, but it was, without even calling him, they ran the tab up to like $60,000 or something crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that to say, like, I agree with them that it's not a guarantee, but I think it's not a guarantee with a lot of these athletes, because I think as fans we tend to forget about that off the field stuff that can also affect.
Yeah, it's a pressure cooker, no doubt.
And
Just want to keep it going, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to piggyback real quick off of what Tommy just mentioned. There was a couple of Cowboys who had that, and I was surprised they was able to have the career. Dez Bryant, his story is kind of known. Him and his relationship with his mom and whatnot. It was, I don't want to say it was complicated, but him and his family had definitely faced some challenges. And I believe Tyron Smith, I think he just kind of, I won't say separated. He definitely put his family a distance because they kept having their hands out. And at the time, he basically just cut them off. So like Tom was saying, it's like these players do be coming. It's just some of them, like Vic, who wanted to keep reaching back, and that's what got him in trouble. They wanted to keep reaching back.
One of the biggest ones,
they recognized they cut it off. They said, no, we can't.
The DN that was for the 49ers, he ended up playing for us for a year, but he was a monster. But I actually dated somebody.
Alden Smith?
Yeah, Alden Smith. I dated somebody that knew his family, and she said, like, she literally grew up the whole family, flat out alcoholics. I'm talking about from the top to the bottom, just ridiculous. And if we notice, that was literally the issue he had when he was in the NFL was, the drinking and off the field stuff. So, 100%.
Absolutely. Just moving on with the draft coverage. So again, this Mel Kiper, I know he came out yesterday with his 2.0 draft list. So again, I got to take this guy, Abdul Carter, outside linebacker. He's actually projected to go first. Cam Ward, certainly to Cleveland. Shador is actually projected to go to the Jets. Now, again, I don't know what prime and whatnot. I don't know if he wants to go there. And surprisingly, he's got Travis Hunter going to the Giants, even though the Jets the Giants are sorely in need of a quarterback. Now, again, Travis Hunter and Malik Neighbors, certainly on the same field together, that could be interesting. But you got to have someone to get them the ball. So this is just to round up the top five. Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, tackle, Mason Graham, defensive tackle to the Jaguars, Ashton Genty. So again, Tom, we liked your commentary on that, on drafting a running back. Again, Jalen Walker, linebacker to the Panthers, Tyler Warren to the Saints, and then Josh Simmons. Hank, we can get your input on this as well. What do you guys think of these guys potentially going to these teams, or how do you guys feel in this draft order? Do you think Shador could be drafted higher, or what do you think with these players? This projection by Kiper.
Well, if it's projecting go, I'm sorry. Somebody tell you about to go.
You
Shawnee, you better go first.
Go ahead.
I was about to let you go first.
No, what I was going to say, if this falls in order, say it does, and New York Giants pass up on a quarterback knowing they need one, that's foolish. If the Raiders pass up on Shador Sanders knowing they need a quarterback,
won't happen.
That makes no sense. I mean, look, I would see why these teams are going to stay in the top 10 of the draft next year, because this is crazy. If now, I don't think it's going to go the way it is, because I don't see Carter going as the first overall pick. I just don't see it. But as far as the Bears, I think that's a bad idea. If they take Josh Simmons, he's a great offensive tackle, but he's hurt. He got injury issues already. He missed the championship playoff. He lost. I mean, in the Oregon game that they lost in the regular season, he got hurt. And for us to go and take another offensive lineman that's hurt in the first round, that makes no sense. I would take a chance on trying to get him in the second round, maybe, and kind of give him somewhat like a redshirt season for him and see what happens. But I definitely wouldn't do that. I would look to get that offensive guy guard from Texas or the offensive tackle from LSU. That's what I'll be looking at. Not the guy who's hurt already and he's going to come into the season hurt more than likely. That makes no sense for us. We need guys to block for Caleb, and a hurt guy is not going to help us.
You're not redshirting no second rounder though, Hank. First and second rounders, you on the field. You're not redshirting that. I mean, only thing I can see is a quarterback that's going to sit behind a veteran quarterback. But outside of that, if you pick first, second round, you on the field. You're not getting redshirted. That's too high of a pick to waste.
It's funny you say that. That's exactly how Shanti enjoyed their quarterback, Troy Aikman. He redshirted because he was hurt. He came in the league hurt.
But that's what I'm saying. Quarterback, I can see, especially if you have somebody ahead of them that's capable. But outside of that, in this day and age, exactly the Vikings too. But they had somebody that they thought was, the Vikings played well.
Vikings didn't redshirt him. He if he hadn't got hurt,
he got hurt.
He was
you're
right.
Play. Yeah, because they said that the competition was pretty. They said the competition was pretty steep for that one. But this just looks goofy to me. It's surprising that Mel Kiper will put this up. There's no way we're passing on the quarterback at all. In fact, we're actually trying to trade up to number 1 to get Cam Ward, from what I've heard. But there's no way 2 quarterbacks is falling, or any of the quarterbacks are falling down to 7. I just don't see it at all.
But wasn't Prime talking about that he wasn't interested in his son going to New York?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing why you don't see Sanders going to New York.
To the Giants, right. Well, but again, they got him going to the Jets.
No, but he going to the Jets. According to Kiper. That's why I said this whole thing.
They play in the same stadium. They play in the same stadium.
Yeah.
Hey, and
but one organization, and both organizations are relatively dysfunctional. I know the Jets, they clean house, they got a new coach, they got a new GM, and whatnot, and Aaron Rodgers isn't there, so maybe they're doing a house cleaning there. Giants, they still dealing with the fact they let Saquon Barkley walk out the building. So and they choose Daniel Jones. So that might not be a great situation overall for certainly for them. But I could have swore I heard Deant Prime. He said he was not into the Raiders. I think he would definitely be willing to talk. I just don't know how much a draft capital would the Raiders be willing to give up to get him.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they're being pretty aggressive, and I think the reason why is because of what happened to them last year. They thought that they could sit back and they thought we'd be able to get Knicks, and then Atlanta came and got them out of nowhere to sit them for a year. So I think this year, specifically because of what happened last year, they're going to be ultra aggressive to move up. If they get to number 1, I don't know. From what I've heard, Tennessee is listening to offers. Like you said, I don't know. I mean, we had picks, so I don't know what they're willing to give up to get there. But from what I've heard, they're being
Max Crosby.
Hey man, I'm getting real. I'm getting real sick of y'all. I'm getting real sick of y'all saying
that's what it's gonna take.
Yes,
that's what it's gonna take,
man. I got
two first round this year and next year.
Side of the bridge, keep on speaking on my guy. I got Charger fans speaking on my guy. But keep his name out y'all mouth, man. That's us.
It's gonna take. Go, Tommy.
Well, he already want to leave, so you better be careful. He might, Mr. Bennett, bring that list back up. Okay, so I'm just looking at the teams who have a good offensive-minded coach on this list. I know they go with need, but Shador going to the Jets, that's going to be a hard one to think about. I can see Raiders.
Don't forget we got Chip Kelly. So it's not just Pete Carroll. We got Chip Kelly as OC.
I think it's going to take an offensive-minded coach. To me, what I've seen in some of these quarterbacks, I wouldn't sit Shador. If I need a quarterback, I would go ahead and take my ups and downs with a player like him and Cam Ward, because I know that they can get the results. I believe so. For those two, they can see the field well, they can anticipate well, and that's very unique and rare in the NFL. We've seen it with Daniels. He can see the field. So any player like that, if I draft him, he's starting.
Is everyone in consensus that Cam should go over Shedeur, or is anyone here thinks actually Shedeur should go first?
I think you have to do your homework on both of them and just choose the one that's best for us. I think they neck and neck. Cam Ward has the athleticism advantage. He has the bigger
I think he has a stronger arm.
Yeah.
Sanders has the clutch factor, and he's more accurate.
And I was gonna say accuracy. Yeah.
I think Sanders he looks like a more pro-ready quarterback as far as how he can. Because basically, if you give Sanders time, he will dice you up. Yeah, he will dice you up. Now Ward, he has the excitement factor. Ward kind of reminds me of Anthony Richardson when he came in. Just athleticism, that excitement factor. Now Anthony Richardson, he hitting his struggles right now. So that's the gamble kind of when you taking a athletic quarterback who's really known athleticism and whatnot and has this big arm. Sometimes that don't necessarily mean you bring it to the NFL is going to equal success. Everybody in the NFL is athletic, so you got Myles Garrett chasing after you. But basically, I'm looking at the comments and CJ mentioned that Shedeur not falling to 7. Well, if you look at it, besides the Raiders, and if the Browns do go with Ward, all these other teams have quarterbacks already.
Exactly.
Besides the Giants, and I don't know what. If I'm the Giants, I know Prime is saying his son. Draft what you need.
I'm drafting his
ass. You need a quarterback. I mean, I'm sorry, Prime. You don't run our team. We need a quarterback, and we believe that our coach right now is going to be suitable for Shedeur. But other than that, Patriots already have their quarterback. Jacksonville definitely have their quarterback, and he getting paid as much as that.
$250 million.
They have to find somebody to have him successful. Tennessee, they gonna stick with Will Levis. I don't know how good that's gonna be, but that's their guy for now. Cause they got other holes they got to fill, so you might as well just try to keep this young dude. But other than that, that's how it's either gonna be Shedeur or if you flip flop them with Ward, how they gonna be up at least 7, maybe 6 if Oakland, or I want to say Oakland, Vegas decides to go with a quarterback, but. Who knows this whole thing, with Stafford, Brady behind the scenes cooking up something. He putting all type of bugs in his ear, so who knows what's going to happen.
Now, Shawnee, I got to ask you, because for some reason they just can't keep Dallas off the pages. So they got the little blurb there, 12th pick, Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. You like that, or with the retirement of Zach Martin, you guys got to go to tackle.
They was actually talking about him on a local radio. I mean, I guess he's a good. He's viewed highly as far as the running backs. One of the things that he's physical, so they like that. And but I've heard some cons about him is that he doesn't necessarily have the speed to get to the outside. If you're trying to, do that, because Genty, I think Genty is just a complete package. He's a complete package. He has speed. He has physicality. He's hard as hell to tackle. Now with Hampton, he's physical and whatnot. He does seek, but he does have a tendency, which I heard, which I don't know. I guess these young, they just do this too much. He has a tendency to want to jump all the time. That's a bad habit to have. I mean, he maybe jump. Everybody not Saquon Barkley able to jump backwards. Sometimes you just need to keep your feet on the ground. Especially if you're a rookie. You don't need to. I remember Zeke, that was his thing, but Zeke I think was actually a hurdler or whatnot on the track, so he was able to do it. But
now, Tommy B, you see here, Shawnee's trying to sell you on Gentry. I know you got your eyes set on these QBs. He's trying to sell you on Gentry. Are you sold?
He always should be number one, man. If you need
I'm not mad at Gentry.
Always do number one.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Gentry. I just, like I said, imagine last year AP wanted to trade up and get Daniels. Like that literally was something, and they decided not to. And you see how those 2 seasons came out. But I also want to speak on another thing, man. I don't like the way that people are looking, the way that Prime is handling his son. Because nobody had that smoke for Archie Manning when he said that about Peyton.
Oh, 100%. It's like all the black fathers who've done anything with their sons. I mean, I don't care if it's LeVar Ball.
But
I mean, say what you want, he's got plays in the league.
But Mr. Bennett, I'm not talking about that. Just even the way that it was talked about on this panel. You don't run this organization. Well, Prime would be the perfect person to know how this organization runs and how a successful organization is ran. And if I don't want my son going to an organization that's ran like it's going to be running to the ground, I got the right to be like, no, I don't want you to draft my son, which is essentially what Archie did. I'm just saying the reception of it, even whether you want to say from the mass media to even some of like the people I've seen on Facebook that's like friends, I'm like, I don't know that it just makes me question like why do people look at it that way? Even John Elway did it himself. You know,
give me time to respond back to that, Tommy. When you
okay. So you know, it just I don't know. It just when I hear that, it kind of rubs me the wrong way because it again, we all would agree that if I had a son that's a quarterback, I wouldn't want to go to the Giants. I don't think anybody up here would be like, oh, yeah, you know. I think just from our positions in life, I'd be happy if anybody drafted my son. You get what I'm saying? Prime's coming from a privileged position to where they good. So and it's essentially the same position Archie was coming from. He's from a privileged position. We good. Don't pick my son.
Right.
Or we gonna cause trouble. And I think with the Giants, especially with the Saquon situation and everything, I don't know if you want to bring somebody in that's gonna essentially come in and be disgruntled off the rip.
But I guess the question I would have for you, Tommy, just getting back to the pick itself, because I know we also talked about Matthew Stafford possibly being available.
Yeah.
Could you be happy with getting Stafford and then drafting Genty, or are you all in on again giving up major capital in order to get Shador or Ward? You know, one of the top two quarterbacks. So I'm just saying, what are you feeling most likely to happen, and what would you be most satisfied with?
For me, I would have to see what we would have to give up to get one of those two to kind of make that decision. Like I said, best case scenario will be to get Stafford and then have somebody sit behind him to learn from him. So it's just a smooth transition. Because if we just real, quarterback is the hardest thing to pick. Everything else, you can find a talented running back. Most of the time, talented quarterbacks don't hit free agency. You know what I'm saying? So unless you get one that's disgruntled or something like that, it's hard. It's rare that you're gonna get them in a trade, or if you get them and they're talented, they're usually gonna be long in the tooth, like a Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers. So, for me, the best case scenario would be able to get a Matthew Stafford and then have like a Shador son sit behind him and get. And another thing too is I think that a lot of people aren't considering with the Raiders too is. When they come in, you got Tom Brady in there also. So it ain't just the coaching staff, and ain't just Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. Tom Brady gonna be hands-on in there. If you think he ain't about to be in there in that quarterback's ear, that's you got something. I don't know if you think it's straight. So, it just in my head, best case scenario would be to get a quarterback. If not, like last year, our pick came out perfect. You know, and I mean, like I said, Jaden Daniels would have been nice to see, but the best tight end in the league last year was our rookie tight end, hands down. So so again, if we got Anson Gentry and he lived up to what he did at Boise, of course I wouldn't be mad. But the way that the league is, it's a quarterback's league, and again, that's the hardest position to get. So if we can get one of these quarterbacks. And it actually, and they actually live up to that potential, then of course that'd be best case scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
So to respond back to Tommy's point about Prime and whatnot. Remember that it's from my standpoint, it's not like Prime is why is Prime demanded basically where his son, what team he's not going to join. It's from the standpoint because, yes, when it was Manning, remember, the Giants also had the opportunity because they needed a quarterback.
Yeah.
And an opportunity came also, okay, we don't get Manning. We have the opportunity to just trade with the Chargers to get Rivers. But they was going to get a quarterback. Yeah. In this particular case, they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you're going to, if Prime don't want Shador to go there for whatever reason, and most likely how the team is ran, just the coach or whatnot. He has his reasons. But okay, if the Giants are going to go in this mock draft going to go with Hunter, you still need a quarterback, which is the most important position on your team.
Yeah.
So in your case, it's like with the Giants case, like okay, we understand. I guess what Prime was saying, that his son doesn't want to be drafted by us, but it's not like this is going to be a quarterback-rich draft. We need a quarterback, and your son is a very skillful player at that position. We don't have an opportunity to trade unless we draft Shador and we can work out a deal to trade with Cam Ward. But right now we don't have that, and who knows that draft day anything can be done like that.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, we need a quarterback, and we don't have a backup plan. Because other than that, like you, I don't understand what's the point of drafting Travis Hunter when you just don't have a quarterback. I guess Hunter he's gonna be doing his thing, but he's still gonna be losing games because you haven't addressed the most important position on your team.
Yeah.
So that's my thing with it. It's not really from the thought, but Prime, you keep your mouth shut. You shouldn't be saying these things. I'm just looking at it from the Giants standpoint, like we need a QB. Okay, if we don't draft your son, we out of luck. It's not a deep draft, so we basically gonna put our franchise at risk just to go by and for something we can't control, just to go by your recommendation or whatnot, and you don't have really say so on the team.
They have I think Cam Ward and Shador Sanders are the shiny names out there. It's a couple more quarterbacks, and I think one of them was actually rated higher than Ward and Shador. I can't remember his name. I think it's the Ole Miss quarterback. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, but no, I completely get it from the Giants' point of view. Like, and again, I'm pretty sure that they didn't feel great about them telling them that when it came to, because I know San Diego, because I know San Diego wanted Eli. And they had to settle for Phillip because, Archie was like, don't draft him. You know what I'm saying? So if I ran a franchise, I'd be a little bit irritated by that for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because you're essentially saying something about my franchise and the way it's ran. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're telling me not to draft your son, you're essentially saying you don't have the faith that, my franchise is competent, essentially. Yeah. But I'm just saying, just some of the comments I've seen about Deion taking that stance has been giving me a little pause, because I'm like, damn, I remember when Archie did that, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little, I was younger back then, but I was like, wow, I didn't know.
Let me get Hank and Coach. You guys want to win, because I know we kind of all go back to that time. Remember that going on. Do you think that Deion is getting a bit more scrutiny versus what the Mannings did, or what have you? Is this an even playing field? How you think about how Deion's handling this, and just some of the commentary we just heard here? Let's start with Hank and let's get Coach in, and then we'll move on to the final block.
Okay, so I think the difference is Deion's more outspoken. Eli Manning's father did it on the low, quietly, behind the scenes type thing. Yeah, Deion's not going to settle for that behind. He's going to, every opportunity, every outlet, he's going to get a chance to speak on it, speak against it, and have something to say. Yeah, he's going to say it. And I think the reason why Shador is probably dropping that low is because there's a few teams up there that needs quarterback, and I think they're scared and worried about Deion Sanders. I really do think that. He's the biggest thing in college football. You know what I'm saying? The cameras are always going to be in his face. He's got a reality show, and every opportunity he can mention, he's going to talk on it, especially if he go to one of them teams that he don't feel like is really suitable for his team. So he could be a problem, and I think a lot of teams are worried about that. So I'll leave it there.
Coach?
Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. This is an interesting situation, As a father, I think any of us would be happy that our son was in this caliber of football play. Again, for either one of these guys. If I'm looking at it from a coach's point of view, I don't see the Jets being a good fit just because they're going to be heavy on defense. From a father's point of view, what I say in October, September could be different come draft day. It's the greatest time in his life. I done already had my time. So, yeah, I can see teams being scared, but hey, I would say, man, whoever drafts you, because you can be that one player that changes the whole trajectory of the team going forward. So, the Patriots was the similar with Tom Brady, but look what he did. So, yeah, I don't care either way. I would have said something too. Shit, like I ain't doing nothing up there. I don't want my son to go get hurt. But
yeah. And we also have to take into account, just the mindset of these owners. Some of the stuff is still kind of archaic in terms of their thinking when it comes to how people are viewed, whether fairly or unfairly. But a lot more times than not, that's what you're dealing with. But I want to move up things. Yeah, we spend certainly a lot of time on the NFL and whatnot. And like I said, this is my favorite sport to cover. So, but I definitely want to cover a couple of these things. We can just kind of do some quick hits as we come towards the end of the show. But again, I thank you guys for coming on tonight. But I wanted to switch gears a little bit. Let's go to baseball. So again, we see here ESPN that's had a long-standing contract with MLB, and that partnership is ending. It's actually ending 3 years early. And apparently the main issue being that folks were upset, or certainly Manfred were certainly upset over the coverage. So again, the current contract they covered 30 regular season games, where the previous contract covered over 90 games. And certainly on ESPN, I watch First Take, certainly if not every day, several days a week or whatnot. Baseball really isn't covered. Certainly not in any of their main blocks. So again, Manfred was certainly upset about that and wanted to move on. So, and I know baseball has also tried to make some changes over the years in terms of the pitch clock and whatnot. They try to modernize the last World Series. You had the Yankees and the Dodgers, and still it was difficult unless you got to the World Series before any of these shows would really give baseball any coverage. So, question we've asked ourselves on several occasions: is baseball dying as a major sport in the United States? If not through fandom, it's just like nobody wants to talk about it. Are there too many games, or what do you think is going on with baseball that ESPN didn't, even though they had the contract with them, didn't think of the MLB worth talking about? And so MLB is pulling out. They'll focus more on Fox or the MLB Network for their games. But what do you think about what does this say about the state of baseball in the U.S. despite the changes over the last few years? So, Sean, we can start with you and just kind of go around, and then we'll wrap up the show with talk a little NBA.
When I first heard the story, it was interesting to me. That's why I sent it over to you to see if we can talk about it. But I think it's a good move by Major League Baseball because ESPN, if you're familiar with ESPN, they are just too East Coast heavy, just way too East Coast heavy, and it's even worse in baseball. And being a fact, right now, baseball is pretty much a regional sport for the most part. It used to be the biggest sport in the country, but it's done dwindled down to just regional. I think their TV deals is just it's bad. It's to the point where even basically a national game, when it was on TBS or TNT, you can see it, but even those are blacked out locally. So it's just bad, their TV deals. But I agree with them pulling out because ESPN, if they was talking about baseball, it was only about the Yankees, the New York teams. Yankees or Mets, and then they'll slide over to the Dodgers on the other coast. But they just didn't focus so much on the other teams in the middle. And they supposed to be this huge, if ESPN gets behind something, they will pub the hell out of it. But they just wasn't doing that with baseball. I remember I saw a video online. Remember the old Baseball Tonight show that ESPN had?
Yeah.
Well, it was stopped a while ago.
Right.
But they used that old studio as a storage. So somebody was just videotaping. I'm surprised that dude's gonna be fired for showing this. But they was just walking around the old Baseball Tonight studios, and they just use it as a storage now. So they didn't really put the effort in to just the sport. And the only thing they wanted to focus on was Yankees and Mets. And I knew when the Yankees was winning, I knew ESPN, they would talk about them forever. And then as soon as they kind of started struggling, they just stopped talking about baseball. So yeah, I agree with the move MLB did. Now it's going to see who's going to be their main television partner. But yeah, I agree with them moving for ESPN because ESPN just wasn't doing them justice at all.
Right. Tommy?
I don't think ESPN is East Coast bias. I think they're numbers bias. And the East Coast still has what's left of the passion for baseball. The closest thing I hear would be the Dodger fans. Outside of that, nobody cares, to be honest with you. Going back to what you said, Mr. Ben, there's too many games. The games are too slow, and it's not enough points being scored. It's just that's what it is. And when you're living in a time where the attention span is so much shorter than it used to be, I mean, I tell people, man, I remember when we literally part of our uniform going to school was bringing a baseball mitt because we was going to play baseball at PE. That's not it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I don't blame the kids because if I watch a baseball game right now, I'm probably going to be asleep by the fourth inning. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about a game where, it's so slow that they're talking about non-baseball things during the telecast in between actions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a really slow game, and we're in a time where everything is speeding up. And because, I was going to lean on the score thing, but even soccer is coming up. And even though they don't score that much, it's a fast sport. You know what I'm saying? It's constant action. And baseball is just, it's real. And I know they tried to speed it up with the pitch clock, but it's just a naturally slow game. I don't know if you can really speed up baseball without you just totally making it goofy. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I think ESPN just reacted to the numbers. I mean, I'm only gonna invest what's worth what's worth to invest in. So if I'm gonna invest all this money into baseball and I'm getting minimum return, it's gonna disintegrate out of my coverage. And I'm not gonna lie to you, around my parts, I ain't heard nobody being mad because baseball is not being discussed. And when I was running my sports show, that was one of my hardest things to figure out is if I was gonna talk about baseball, because I I had a vested interest in the A's. Now they're gone. But outside of that, I didn't care. To be honest with you, like, you had your Otanis and something like that were exciting and some of the top players, but as far as like the league, especially, the first kind of half of the season, you get burnt out. By the time you get to the exciting second part, you almost burnt out. It's 162 games. It's just a long time. So,
Tommy,
Coach?
when was the last time the A's were a winning squad?
see, now Shawnee gonna come on here and pick
Well,
this
no,
up, man.
because
Hold on,
that's
we
the
ain't
thing.
got
You know
enough
what I'm
time for
saying?
that. We ain't got enough time for that. We ain't got enough time for that. No.
Go ahead, Coach.
Coach is exactly right. Because listen, I can sit down here and give y'all stories.
Nah, we don't want those. We don't want no California dreaming stories. I mean,
No, this is a nightmare.
Baseball was America's sport. Tommy said, baseball is slow, but it's for also the quick thinker too. Us black folk, we love the football sport, we love the basketball sport, but the baseball sport is the sport that give you 20 years. Baseball it has to be a acquired taste, and a lot of young guys, never played organized sports growing up. They just became fans of the game. I was fortunate enough to dabble in pretty much everything except wrestling. I didn't want nobody putting their little tighty-whitey draws on me. So, but, baseball, I think baseball is just one, it's overpricing itself. With the product, you have a few star players on teams making $400 million, and then you got everybody else just making, good money, but it's just overpriced itself for the games. And most baseball games are played like during the workday. Black folk ain't got the luxury of taking a day off with their kids and going down to to the baseball game, spending 3-4 hours, $300. So it's just one is pricing itself out, and two, Major League Baseball don't vest enough in the inner city dynamic of young men to play baseball. I think more brothers, if they were introduced to that sport early, because a lot of guys don't play baseball at all, I think more young people would be vested in it. But again, they know what we'll do if you bringing in that sport to the inner cities and these kids out there playing baseball. They know what'll happen, but they invest a lot in. But they know they ain't gonna be giving us no 300-400 million like that. But yeah, I think it's just pricing itself out, and too many games. So, and ESPN is overbooked. ESPN is football from January to January. Football got all the games. They got 4 days now down there. So baseball ain't got no place.
And
not with
NBA
ESPN.
kind of take the rest.
Yeah, not with ESPN. So
for sure. Hank, what's your thoughts on that? I don't. Are you a baseball fan? Cubs or White Sox? What?
I don't talk about that shit. I don't give a shit about. It's a dying sport, man. It's a goddamn dying sport. I don't know what the hell. Yeah, it's a dying sport. Like horse racing, it's a dying sport. We just need to let that bullshit go. Let me say this. I don't know what Ferg talking about. Inner city. They've been going to the inner city, and the kids just ain't going for it. First of all, they can't afford to play the game. The game's way too expensive. If you compare it to other sports, it's probably your second to third highest played sport you play, besides field hockey and baseball. Those some of your two highest paid sports, and we're not playing either one of those. It's just not our thing, man. It's slow. It's methodical. Nobody gives a shit. They're not going to
get that coordination no more. They slow it down. That's all.
But it's not about that though. It's just not exciting, man. Could you imagine? You're gonna tell a child at the early ages of 5 to 6 years old, because that's when they really start, to go out in the outfield, and y'all just stand there, for about 20 minutes inning, because that's how long one inning lasts, about 20 minutes. You gonna ask a kid to go out there and do it? They're not doing that.
They're not chasing birds.
Well, come on, man.
But look, I think baseball is trying. These salaries, they got the highest salaries arguably in sports. Maybe European football, association football, soccer may have higher. I think some of those guys get billion-dollar contracts or something like that. Yeah. They got the highest salaries, and again, the injury risk. Yeah, so your son might be standing in the middle field, but he can make $500 million. Whereas you could be playing in the NFL, and you'd be lucky if you get a $50 million deal. So.
It would make sense for our black parents to be doing that. It would make sense, especially if they make it. It would make a lot of sense. But we do some shit that don't make sense sometimes.
That's true. That's true. And I just wanted to bring up and I want to bring up Dante's point. It seems like coverage overall, I don't care if you watch Fox or ESPN, it seems like the blocks of every show, this is why the Cowboys are so hated, because everybody's got to talk about the Cowboys or LeBron. That's like your A and B block, and then maybe Steph. He got a little shine here and there, but this is basically your mainstream sports coverage. Is these things you can't have a show without at least talking about at least one of these, and then again maybe throwing some other NFL stuff that when that is going on. But as a sport, it's
that was my point. It's not that they're being biased. They're number farming. And they're like, I remember Colin Cowherd said something. He said, I see a lot of the comments and people are complaining about what we're talking about, but the very thing you talk about is our highest rated subjects that we talk about. So like you said, the Cowboys, the people that love the Cowboys watch and the people that hate the Cowboys watch. So you get both, you get both. But say if you talk about, say, like the Falcons, nigga, who cares? You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not gonna focus a whole block on the Falcons when nobody cares. And
Tommy, people don't care if they start talking about baseball. They start talking about baseball. They said, "Fuck, I'd rather talk about the Falcons."
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, they just not gonna, it's just not gonna happen.
Yes, it's becoming irrelevant.
Stephen A. mentioned the same thing about the topics they generally cover on First Take.
Yeah,
it's basically the numbers. But I was about to say, baseball in the SEC country, it's big. If you watch some
yeah,
clips on like college baseball, how they fans,
yeah,
it's huge.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just a market as far as if your team. I speak here in Texas. Baseball is back huge in Houston because
Mhm.
how the Astros were. Basically, Astros took over that city. Me being living now in DFW, even though the Rangers had a bad year, them winning the World Series the year before brought it back. So it depends. If your team has some sort of winning, it will bring it back up locally, and you will hear
Well,
about it a lot.
that's how Texas is. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like when I lived out there, y'all hop on whatever's hot.
They do, they
Niggas
do,
will
they
jump
do.
to Houston, San Antonio. I barely heard the San Antonio fans. They started winning all of a sudden. Everybody, I'm like, where did y'all come from? Y'all was Houston fans last year.
Well,
I
they had
hear
a
you.
good run though with them Spurs that Tim
They
Duncan
Oh,
had.
they
they certainly
definitely
did.
did.
They
Yeah.
certainly did.
And
All right,
and
so
and
coming towards the end of the show, just first of all, again, shout out once again to CJ Wilkins, $5 super chat. So again, Luka had 19 points on 17 shots. Nico might be cooking something. LA won by 8 with Cavs missing AD, Lively, Gafford. Dallas wins by 18-25 at full health. So yeah, I couldn't put. This is one of the reasons I can't get into NBA usually until about May time after March Madness and whatnot. I kind of get into the NBA a little bit. Again, almost like baseball. It's too much to talk about too soon. Again, Dallas obviously is not at full strength. We'll find out, certainly the merits of this trade and whatnot come playoff time, because now all the Laker fans are talking about, winning a championship this year. I don't think anybody's beating the Celtics, me personally, but certainly that seems to be all the buzz. That seems to be all the buzz. Look,
they
I'm
thought that
not
was
sold on
22.
Cleveland. I think Cleveland, look, they're playing great. It's a great story
Nah,
in
Cleveland gonna
Cleveland
get
this year.
smacked.
I appreciate what the go mid America, all of that. Post LeBron, hey, make your own destiny, and it's not all about LeBron. But I just don't think they'll be standing there at the end. And who comes out the West? I mean, certainly are the Lakers, and they still have to. Did they ever get a big? I mean, who's their
No.
who's their?
No, that's
They never got a
So
bid.
again, so they're gonna be they're gonna be middle of the pack or whatever. But all these Laker fans talking about, oh yeah, we going this year. We're the favorites to beat the Celtics in the
Look,
finals.
I
I'm
can
just
tell
saying.
you who didn't beat Dallas by 8, but bought it, put like a 30 ball on you. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
Shout out Jimmy
absolutely.
Buckets.
Yes. Oh, and actually, Dante wanted me to ask you,
Yes,
Tommy.
sir.
So again, how are you feeling now? Again, we talked about Jimmy buckets. I think that again, he's a great player. Certainly, especially when it comes playoff time. We talk about playoff Jimmy, but again, he's played himself out of several teams. And me, I just don't like seeing when a guy kind of gets rewarded for misbehaving. But he is a Warrior now. So, again, how are you feeling about him? The Warriors I have seen, they have been playing better. I think they'll certainly make it into the dance and whatnot, and we'll see what happens with him and Steph teamed up. How are you feeling about Jimmy? And what kind of impact do you think he'll make on the Warriors' playoff run this year?
I
Hold up real
told.
quick, Tommy.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bender, you got Coach waiting for you in the back.
Oh, my bad.
I forget about bruh name that we ended up having to trade on that he got hurt. I can't think of his name, but the Warriors was playing fine when we had him.
Wiseman?
No. I'm talking about this year. When we first started off when we was hot, and then I can't remember bruh name. He was starting and he got hurt. Pretty
Andrew
much for the
Wiggins.
season. No, not Wiggins. It's I can't think of his name. But
Buddy
anyways,
Yield?
no, not him. No, he got hurt and we ended up trading him. I can't think of his name.
Oh,
But we had picked him up in offseason.
yeah. I forget. Yeah.
But
Okay.
I was telling people, and they were laughing at me that he was a key part because he was like a lockdown defender with Draymond. Well, now we get Jimmy, who's that, plus he's a scorer. So that was an upgrade there. And then the part that a lot of people aren't paying attention to is we found us a big in his last name is Post. I think it's like Quinn Post or something like that.
Mhm.
And he's been out there playing pretty good. And he's like a stretch 5, which is literally the most. That's been what I've wanted to see the Warriors play with since this run started, and we've never quite had that. Because when you get a stretch 5 out there, now your big is out the lane is wide open, and it just creates even more space. And if that starts to mend together like it's looking like, it could get real spooky. Now, I'm not gonna get too crazy because it's not like we just beat, Boston or something like that. We beat some decent teams, but I'm not gonna, shout from the mountains because we beat, Charlotte or something like that. But you can definitely see it's a new energy on the team. It's a new energy on defense. Steph has been reinvigorated. I think Steph is almost averaging 30 since Jimmy got there. We 6-1, should be 7-0 if they didn't call no BS charge in Dallas. But you feel me? No, I'm liking it, and it's just kind of one of those things you got to just kind of see how it goes. A lot of people don't even know that Kuminga been out for a little bit, so when he comes back, that adds another a layer to it, and so it's looking pretty good, to be honest with you. It's looking a lot better than I think people thought it would be, and I tend to agree with you, Mr. Bennett, as far as like the actions. My only problem with it is I don't know the behind the scenes of why you're acting like that, so I tend to try to hold judgment on players like that, because then I'd be holding the franchise to this higher tier, and I don't trust billionaires at all. So, he could be righteous for the way he's been acting with these teams. I mean, I've heard he had a pretty good thing in Minnesota. Philly, I mean, I think they regretting every day picking what's his name over Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what went down in Miami or whatever. I think he wanted a contract or something like that. But I'm with you. I didn't necessarily love the way he was acting, but I mean, he seems to be happy over here so far, so I'm good with it.
All right, gentlemen. Let's get into our final thoughts. And actually, you just had an interesting segue. I'll start first with mine. We'll just kind of go around it, winding up with Coach. Joel Embiid. I think it's just not looking good. I mean, he may be done for the season. I think it's some time that I think Philly possibly needs to move on from Embiid. I just think his whole career has been injury plagued, and once again it's just rearing its head. So I just think it's run its course. I don't see what a team would want him or certainly invest a lot of money in him. If he's that unhealthy, maybe he should consider retirement. I mean, I just don't see the guy can't stay healthy for not even half a season. And even though he's played hurt in the playoffs and has played well, but he just can't be a franchise guy going forward. And it's just unfortunate that men who joined the Philly this year from L.A. He's yet in another situation. He went to L.A. to hook up with
Paul George and
Paul George, and he went to the Clippers to team up with what's his name? Guy from San Antonio, won a championship. Kawhi. That didn't materialize. Now he goes to team up with Embiid, and Embiid's not available also. So it's unfortunate. Paul George has the unfortunate of just wanting to go with teams where the star players are just not there. He's supposed to be the complement. He's supposed to be the piece that puts him over the edge, and he winds up trying to be the man, and he's just not built for that. So sad to see, but that's my final thought on that. But we'll go to Shawnee. Tommy, we'll just wrap it around. We'll wind up with the coach.
Well, I know we are short on time, so I don't really have any final thoughts. I pretty much said what I said on the show. But I do have a topic that I would like to discuss for next week's show, and you just brought him up. Was Joel Embiid for the Sixers? Was Joel Embiid a disappointment? I'm talking about his career. So that would be something we can. I don't want to say bust because that's obviously not true. But I want to say disappointment. So we can discuss that next week.
Awesome, Tommy.
To add to what you said, Mr. Bennett, Paul George decided to shut down the podcast, and so he can focus on the team. I think he's a little bit late for that. He's not ending it. He's just not gonna be on there until probably like the off season, something like that. But man, I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm kind of scared of San Antonio right now, man, because if they end up being asked towards the end of this season, they're going to have a really nice pick. And they already got De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. They about to be something crazy if they get a top pick.
Sure,
Hold on about that
Wemby.
Wemby, because unfortunately he has
Yeah, the
that
blood clot.
clot.
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying. So since he's not on the floor, that's going to equal more losing, and that's going to raise that pick. And hopefully, if he recovers from that blood clot, now you're in a position where you got a top pick. Hopefully, you got a healthy Wemby and the De'Aaron Fox. That could get real spooky real fast down there. And prayers up to Pop. They don't know if he coming back. They know he gone for the rest of the season, but they don't know if it's going to be a career or not. But yeah, that's all.
Gotcha, Hank. And also make sure, Hank, shout out your channel and things that you got going on your end. And again, thank you for joining us tonight.
Okay, thank you, sir. Man, I'm rocking over at the basement, man. In the basement, and I do a sports recap on Monday, and Wednesday I usually show about grown man or grown woman stuff, man. But today I streamed my son's basketball game, and shout out to the Indiana Southeast. They did win. They almost gave me a goddamn heart attack, but they ended up winning. So I did stream it live. So in case you guys want to rewatch it, definitely check it out on my channel, Ink of the Basement. My final thoughts is, man, yeah, right on. My final thoughts is free agency opens up next week, so I'm hoping the Bears sign Sweat as a defensive end and Trey Smith as a guard, and go in the draft looking to build online so we could build great things in Chicago, and we could be once again Super Bowl shuffle. Right on.
Coach, just take us out.
Well, it is coming into our spring season, man. This is the get in shape season, man. So take advantage of the nice weather, man. Get out. Don't be crying during the draft. We still got a long summer. If your team choose somebody you didn't want them to choose, that's okay. It's gonna be all right. No, but it's a salute to everybody, man. Good show. It's Wednesday. Like I said, man, he can say it all the time, man. Take care of your health, fellas. Take care of your health. Get your checkups, man. Your family needs you, man. So salute to everybody, man. Salute to the chat, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys coming in. Scorch Earth, didn't acknowledge you earlier. Just wanted to shout you out. Again, our brother Lost in Translation, get well soon. Praying for you, brother. And our guy Dante, certainly holding it down with the fam as well. Looking forward to having you back up here as well. But again, great show tonight, gentlemen. Looking forward. Again, Combine starts tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to those guys running around those shorts tomorrow. So I can't wait. But for, again, myself, Mr. Bennett, for Shawnee, for Tommy B, for Hank, follow Hank in the Basement, and the coach as always. Thank you for joining us. This has been the One-on-One Sports Show. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.